Supahula plays e4. Time for the French. Let's see what kind of French he wants. Ah, he allows the Winawer. Okay, let's go for the Winawer French. What's this called? The fingerslip variation? So you can win a pawn here. I don't think it's that good. You take the knight and then take the pawn. The queen can come out and probably get the pawn back. Yeah, I don't know the best answer here. So I'll just do this. If he wants to give me an isolated queen's pawn, he can. I have good development. Now it looks like he wants to double up on this. Oh, maybe he's just getting his knight out of the way of the castle, but he did go to this square instead of this one, so it looked like he was headed for a... Okay, yeah, it looks like he just wants to win the pawn now. Here, let's kick his bishop. Yeah, I was hoping he'd do that. Now the pawn is well defended. Don't have to worry about him taking my knight. Maybe he could have won a pawn there, so that is an interesting question. Maybe I'll look at that with the chess engine after the game. So he wants to attack my bishop. Let's just use this opportunity to unpin my knight. Yeah, there's various tricks white could play with the rook here and the pin. Make it difficult for me to unpin. What I'm thinking is I could put my rook here and then move the knight here so that if he trades, I would have a rook here, and then, you know, he can't exploit the pin because I'll have a defended rook here. So pushing a pawn here to chase my knight away. Ah, he goes away. He gets away from all of that. Okay, so now there's no problem with just putting the knight here right away. Taking care of that bishop. And if he pins the knight, I'll just unpin immediately. Well, I don't have to, actually. But maybe putting the queen here, looking at this pawn. So he looks to undermine my center. Let's put a rook here opposite his queen. I'll have an isolated pawn here if he takes. Maybe the queen takes. I'm sorry, I didn't think this through. I take. Okay, let's just unpin first. expose the line between the rook and the queen here. This pawn was no longer under attack, so the bishop didn't need to be here. But I had to kind of scramble to find that. I was totally overlooking the fact that the pawn was hanging, unless I had some tactical trick. So I had to come up with that one. I was just thinking he would take and I would take back, and everything would be fine. But he would just take it with the queen then. So I think this works, though. Yeah, so he unpins there and attacks my knight. So anyway, let's take back, defending the knight. Okay, stepped out of the way. So there's now a fork, a pending fork there. And knight here to attack his queen is subject to an exchange. It's not so bad, though, is it? Not sure. Here, let's just retreat my bishop. I guess I need to defend this pawn. I was going to retreat it here, but then attacking his knight. But then his knight just comes back here. Not sure that does me any good. Guess I would trade. Anyway, I want to move my queen to the side here. And put the other rook in the center on the e-file. And if he takes my bishop, then I'll have a pawn duo in the center here. A protected pass pawn should be good. So he kicks my knight anyway. So knight here, he takes, I take. And then I've got this knight in a pin, although I can't really exploit it. It's a good blockader here. Okay. Keep the pin. Okay, let's contest this C file here. I wonder what that was about. Oh, maybe his king is going to step up here. Going to prepare to double on the C file. He just lost on time. Well, he was thinking. Here, let's look at a couple things in this game. I felt like I got into trouble. Well, yeah, first of all, let's look at what the computer's recommended move is here. So, like I said, this is the finger slip. The finger slip variation. And so what does the computer think is the best move here? Thinks I should go ahead and take the pawn. So you can do this. You can play here. He takes, and then you take here. And it looks like you've won a pawn, but the queen comes out, and it's a double attack. And slightly good for white, so you can play that way. Interesting game. If I'm not going to take the knight, then it seems like the best move is to take the pawn. Then he can still bring the queen out. And then you go into this line where he attacks here. And then you grab this pawn, and this is about even. Well, this would be an interesting way to play. Maybe I'll try that sometime. So, but in the game I played c5. Looks like that's not as good. Leaves white with an advantage, but you know, it's just still within the range of normal opening play, so it's not like it's a horrible mistake. Here, let's turn this off and get to the next place I thought was interesting. Someone really wants to play me, but my next game is going to be a rapid game, so can't really respond to that. Right here. So yeah, I just ignored that and played a rook over. So what's the best move here? Bring the bishop out with a pin. Yeah, actually it likes this position for black here. So let's see what happens if I follow this suggested line. Bishop g4. What if he just takes? Then I take here. And then goes here. And then takes this way. That's computerese. I assumed the point of that was to take this way, but that falls into a fork. Interesting. And if we back up, so after he takes and I take, he can't really take back like this. There he loses. He loses some material. Yeah, this is good. So, you know, the intermediate move of pushing this pawn forward is very important to keep some kind of play for white. So I was, so bishop g5 was the right answer here. And it depends on this tactical trick. So a bishop g4. Aside from bishop g4, what have I got here? Rook a d8 was the second best move. Okay. So I did okay there. And then this is all about even. Oops. It's something. Minus 1.8. Oh yeah, once again I can take. I'm totally overlooking this idea. Yeah, once again I can take. And he takes the queen, I have the knight there. So yeah, aside from that, except for that tactic, I was doing okay. And yeah, this is all just about even. And then where was his mistake? Oh, he just ran out of time. So yeah, in the final position, white's actually a little better. Look at this. He can take the bishop and then take the pawn. I was ignoring this. I did not see that this pawn was hanging over here. So yeah, he has an advantage after that because he's got a outside passed pawn and my passed pawn is in the center. So in the endgame, the outside passed pawns are stronger. Plus he has an extra pawn. It's 5 pawns versus 4. So what should I have done here? Where was my mistake? lifting the rook up was a mistake. Because, yeah, it invites dragging the queen away from defense of the pawn. Right now the queen's defending the pawn. So dropping the bishop back, maybe with the idea of playing bishop here sometime. Or not, would be the way to continue, and it's about an even game. Well, interesting. Let's see if we can get a rapid game here. Okay, time for d4. We have a classical queen's gambit declined. Going to play simply here, just defend the pawn. You can just develop the knight and ignore that threat for another move, but anyway, it probably helps to study the lines before you do that. Okay, so normal development so far. I'm going to develop my bishop to d3. I'm just taking a pause because we have time, this being a rapid game, to consider what's going on. He put his knight out in front of the c-pawn, so he's not really threatening to push the c-pawn forward, which is the source of some counterplay. If the bishop takes my knight, I take back with a pawn, and I don't mind, because this gives me an extra c-pawn. I can, for example, exchange here and then push the c-pawn forward. So yeah, I'm just going to continue in development with normal development. I'm going to castle the next move, so this will no longer be pinned. And I want to disallow the knight from hopping in there, although it could hop in there now. Takes first. Yeah, it's annoying when the knight hops in there while my knight is still pinned. So let's defend. And now, because this pawn is in the way, you can't bring the queen out to add more pressure. So once again, I'm just going to castle, and then this knight cannot stay here. If he castles, I could also consider putting my bishop back here, threatening this pawn if the knight moves. So we'll wait and see what he does. Looks like he's decided to take this moment to think as well. Yeah, when you've just been playing Blitz and you switch to Rapid, it's important to remind yourself to change your pace a bit. Take advantage of the extra time. Okay, what has he got? Like I said, if he castles, I think that's maybe dangerous for him. So he supports the knight there with f4. When he castles, this pawn will be pinned, but at the moment it's defended and it's not pinned. So yeah, I think just castling is fine. So now I'm threatening to, take the knight and then take the pawn. So he has to do something. He goes that way. And now the bishop has to move. So I could pile up on the e-pawn. That's kind of interesting. But what would happen is his knight would come here, forking my queen and bishop. So I guess it's not really working. Similarly, knight to here would coordinate there, but the knight is hanging there. So is there a way I can get some of these ideas going? If I step back with the bishop, then he can bring the knight here and harass it. If I push the e-pawn forward, he takes, I take with the queen. It brings the queen out here to attack this pawn. I kind of like that. And also pushing the e-pawn forward opens up a line for my bishop. Supports the knight on this square. So I push. He might just push the pawn, but then I can push again, forcing his bishop to move and then take the pawn. So I think if I play here, he has to take it. And then I'll have to deal with the threat to this e-pawn here. He just castled. Why did I think that was not... Oh, no, I only looked at taking or pushing. I didn't look at just ignoring it. I can take it if he castles, because as I said, this pawn is pinned. So probably taking would have been better, but I don't know. That's another thing we can ask the computer. So he's saying he wants to unpin. I think this is worth an exchange here. I'll grab this pawn. He's going to get counterplay here because he will have this open F file. But I have 2 pawns. I'm 2 pawns up at the moment, and he'll probably win one of these back. But not yet. Let's see. So his knight can come here or here. I mean, I could just push my pawn forward, but he can bring a pawn forward to undermine it. Let's start with a knight move, say. Well, okay, I have to worry a little bit about this diagonal. But with the rook here, yeah. If I start with the rook here, then I have the knight here as a possibility. Yeah, I don't know what's better. Let's bring my bishop out. Let's develop the bishop with tempo. It's a good way to start, I guess. If I push this pawn forward, then I'm losing this square for my knight. So maybe it's better just to give up this pawn, but let's first see where his queen goes. Has to go to g3, doesn't it? g6, rather. Can't go this way. Can't go this diagonal. Up and down. It could go here. Yeah. Looks like wherever it goes, I could have traded. Oh, it could have gone to A. The rook could have gone to the queen. The queen could have gone to H5 here. That might have been a better move. So, because I'm thinking if I just trade queens and push the pawn, don't I have a pretty good position here? Oh, I can't push right away because his knight, his rook is there. Let's prepare to double. Let's see. His knight can hop in here, so I have to watch out what squares it can hit. It's these dark squares here. he can't easily attack this pawn. Let's see, I think the quickest way for him to attack it would be to bring his knight back. Because okay, let's put the bishop here. Maybe I get tempo on the knight. No, if I push this pawn, he takes it. Okay, this might just be tempting his knight forward, in which case I guess I'll defend my bishop. Just, yeah, I think I will just continue with doubling as I planned. If he wants to take my bishop, I will allow it. If he doesn't take it, I will drop the bishop back here. Yeah, so my rooks don't get distracted. And then push this pawn forward and then bring the knight here. Pawn, oops, not like that. Pawn up and then knight here. So he didn't like that. I don't blame him. So what can I do? It's not so easy to get force on this square. It'll take several knight moves to get there. But I could start with this move because now I can push the c pawn and then the d pawn. Okay, so from there he can go to this square or this square. I can bring my rook up here. If he plays his rook to f4, I can play my... If he plays his knight to f4, I can play my rook to e4. But he didn't do that. He played it to this square. So he's grabbing a pawn, maybe? Is that his idea? Okay, well, I'm kind of limited where I can go anyway. Okay, so I'm going to put my bishop here. I don't want to trade it off at this point. And I'm also indirectly looking at his rook. Once I get this pawn defended, my rooks will be free to move, so might have some more interesting possibilities coming up here. Knight to the square, for example. Let's see. I don't think I can trap the bishop. It can always go back. Okay, so he's going for the pin. Oh, okay. And the my bishop will take his knight if it comes here to attack my rook, so I can just drop back here and defend. Ah, but if I do that, then he can take the knight and then take the rook. I mean, take the pawn. That's pretty good. Let's see, and I can't... can't put my bishop here because he can just take it. Okay, so I'm looking at knight here. He takes the rook. I take the rook with check, so he has to take back. And then I take the bishop. Is that okay? Does he have any other tricks he can play? He moves the rook. Then I can move my rook. He takes the pawn. I play here with check. It forks the rook and the king. And so he loses a rook if he does that, right? Let's think about this. Okay, I put my knight here. He takes the pawn. I go knight here, check. Now his options are, if he takes with the rook, then I take here with check, so that is fine. If he takes with the pawn, then I take the rook. If he takes here, then I take this rook with check and then take the bishop. Okay, other possibility would be knight here, rook takes, knight here, check, king moves. Then I take the rook. Depends on where the king moves, huh? Let's see, so I'll have a knight here. He'll have rooks here and here. And his king will be here, 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 or here. So I could play knight takes rook. And if he takes back, I take it. If he takes this rook, take it. If he takes my rook, then I take. Yeah, I think this works in all the cases I can calculate. Let's see. Let's see if this works. Maybe he just moves the rook somewhere else. But then I can move my rook. Okay, I used up all my time thinking about that one. Well, you know, that's why it's a rapid game, so you have time. But I may have to move a little faster now. And he just takes my rook now, I take back. No, this is the first line I calculated. I take the rook with check. That's the main idea here. And I take the bishop. So I don't lose the exchange and I don't lose the pawn. And I'm still going to get to play, yes, my knight here. He's going to get this fork, huh? I mean, I get to play my pawn up. So he can fork my bishop and rook. And I'm just going to go into this endgame. Rook. Rook and pawn endgame, where I have protected passed pawn. He has passed pawns too, so let's see what we can do here. Let's bring my king into the game. Okay, he can't come forward anymore. I can bring my rook in to stop him. So let's stop the king from coming out this way. And I'll try and create a passed pawn over on the queen side too, it looks like. King side. The idea is if the king steps up here, I'll just play rook here. So I go here, he pushes this pawn forward, I take it. If he puts the rook here, I defend it. So he puts his rook over there. Let's go for trying to create a passer over here. Yeah, this is cool. He's giving me another passer. Okay, this should be enough to win. Rook here. Excuse me. Rook here to here. Threaten to chase the king away and push these pawns forward. So he goes there first, yeah. Makes sense. Okay, let's think about the, oh, I don't have time to think about it. I'm putting this pawn in danger. So rook here, he takes, I take, king takes, and it's 1, 2, 3 to queen, and he has 1, 2, 3, 4, but he will probably queen as well. Can't think of anything else at the moment, and I'll have another pawn ready to queen. Oh, this is just 2 pawns away from queening. He can't take. 2 moves to queen. His king has come forward too far. And my advanced pawns should win out here. So he stops that. But he can't stop both of these. Okay, I go here. Now, rook here, or just pawn up. He takes, I queen. I go here, he takes, I take. Maybe I have to go here first. So having the extra queen, if there's a check here that wins the pawn. Having the extra queen should be enough at this point. 16 seconds left. Well, you get 5 seconds per move, so I just have to stay on top of it. Stay on top of things. Let's go ahead and take this pawn so I don't have to worry. Let's go ahead and get some checks in. Okay, one less pawn to worry about. There may have been some mates in there. Sometimes, you know, when the king has restricted movements like that, there are these mates. Just trying to move my king closer to his, also increasing the mating possibilities. The idea I'm thinking of with the rook move was to bring the rook over here and then bring the queen in. Now that's a direct mate threat. Yeah. And I won that one. All right. Well, that was an interesting game. Hope you guys enjoyed it. And I'll see you next time. Bye now.